Hare Krishna. Welcome, dear devotees. Thank you so much for joining us today. So, we are back here celebrating and visiting the different holy places where actually the Chida Dahi Panihati Festival actually took place. We have with us His Grace Chandan Yatra Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Chandan Yatra Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Thank you so much for joining us again. You have so wonderfully taken us to so many different holy places and invested so much of your time and energy into creating these wonderful slideshows with pictures from these different holy places. So it's our great honor to welcome you on this platform and to actually start meditating on this beautiful festival of Chida Dahi Panihati Festival. And from what I hear, you're going to also take us to Raghava Pandita Bhavan today.
Yes, I will be going through the Panihati Yatra today, and we'll be visiting the actual Chida Dahi site, which is there in Panihati, and also in Panihati there's Raghav Bhavan, the Raghav Pandit's house. We'll be visiting that also, and also we'll be discussing the transcendental pastimes of Srila Raghunath Das Goswami.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Thank you for helping us set the mood for this wonderful and very sweet festival. So, without further ado, I just request you to let's start on this journey of this beautiful meditation. So if you're ready, we can share the share the slide now.
Yes, I'm ready.
Sure, Prabhu. All right.
So, Om Jnanatinirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshu Anmiltam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. So today we are going to visit very important site, which is Panihati Chida Dahi, where Panihati Chida Dahi Festival happened 505 years back. And also we'll be visiting Sri Raghav Pandit's house, who was a great cook along with his sister Damayanti, and they both cooked nectarine preparations for Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu, and we'll be visiting their house, their kitchen, and the Samadhi of Raghava Pandit in Panihati, and also we'll be discussing the transcendental pastimes of Srila Raghunath Das Goswami, which are very critical for our own Krishna consciousness progression. So, Panihati Chida Dahi Mahotsav, which is going to happen on 23rd of June, which is Wednesday. It's also called the Chip Rice Festival. This is a yearly celebration of the pastimes of Srila Raghunath Das Goswami and Lord Nityananda Prabhu. And this astonishing pastime took place on the banks of the mighty Ganges River at Panihati. And here also Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu, his associates, enjoyed many transcendental pastimes here at Panihati. And Chida Dahi Mahotsav is the reminiscence of how Lord mercifully reciprocated with his devotees by arranging through Lord Nityananda Prabhu and Raghunath Das to provide an ecstatic feast of yogurt and chip rice along with various other nectar foodstuffs, and on a very hot, scorching days, summer days in Bengal and at that time. And before that, very useful and important information about Panihati is that Panihati is located about 1 hour from the Kolkata airport. In fact, it is in Kolkata. It's just on the outer side of Kolkata and 1 hour drive from Kolkata airport. But more important thing is that to visit Panihati, ask your driver to say Panihati boat cart, Sodipur, or Google ISKCON Panihati temple. So that will be the easiest way to visit Panihati. Otherwise, it gets very difficult. One may be just moving around and around in circles. It will be very hard to find this place. And it's advisable, like while we are going to on the way to Mayapur from Kolkata, as most of us do, it's the best that we can do a detour to Panihati. If you are coming in the morning time, arriving in the morning time in Kolkata, or leaving Kolkata in morning time to Mayapur, just we can take a detour to the Panihati and visit these very important sites. The actual Panihati Chida Dahi Festival site, Raghava Pandita Bhavan, and also ISKCON Panihati Temple. So um, this important pastime is described in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Ante Leela, chapter 6. It describes this amazing pastime. And Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, the author of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, offers his homages to Srila Raghunath Das Goswami at the end of every chapter of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. And he says, praying at the lotus feet of Sri Rupa and Raghunath, always desiring their mercy, I, Krishna Das, narrate Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita following in their footsteps. So after every chapter, if you see, this prayer is there for Rupa and Raghunath. And Raghunath Das Goswami was one of the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan. And the 6 Goswamis of the Vrindavan represent a class of highly perfected personalities who threw away all the prospects of of the most attractive pleasures, like the pebbles in the street. So these Goswamis, they were born in a very aristocratic, rich families. However, they did not care for that, and they threw away all the prospects of the most attractive pleasures, so-called pleasures of this material world, into just like pebbles in the streets. And they painstakingly constructed aesthetic pleasing temples for the pleasure of Lord and the spiritual upliftment of the mankind in Vrindavan and other places. And Raghunath Das Goswami, the main thing is that Raghunath Das Goswami was the first Goswami to have met Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Even before Rupa and Sanatan Goswami, Raghunath Das Goswami met Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Raghunath Das Goswami was the only Goswami who was actually not born in the Brahmin family. He wasn't born in the Brahmin family. And Raghunath Das was the son of a very wealthy zamindar by name Govardhan Majumdar. And Govardhan Majumdar's opulence and wealth was practically equal to King Indra, the king of heaven. So they were extremely wealthy. But from his childhood itself, Raghunath Das was uninterested in the material enjoyment. When Raghunath Das was small, he was blessed by Balram Acharya, one of the acharyas there, who took him to Srila Haridas Thakur, who lived close by. So as a small child, Raghunath Das was very much influenced by the example of Haridas Thakur, and he was very much attracted towards the advancements in Krishna consciousness and did not pay any heed towards the materialistic things, even though he was born in extremely aristocratic family. But this posed a lot of problem for their parents, because parents wanted to take over their business, take over their heritage. So they got Raghunath Das married to a very beautiful and chaste young woman who was endowed with all the good qualities. Uh, they gave him beautiful house, a lot of wealth, and so much prestige was there. But Raghunath Das was not at all concerned about this. And when Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was returned from after taking his sannyas from Keshav Bharati at Katwa, when he came to Shantipur at Sri Advaitacharya's house, Raghunath Das had his very first meeting with Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu at Sri Advaitacharya's house. And there Raghunath Das was favored by Sri Advaitacharya. He was given the remnants of the prasadam which Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took, and he partook the remnants of the Lord and he was engaged in rendering various devotional services for about 5 to 7 days at Shantipur at Advaita Acharya's house. And when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu bade for farewell to everybody and return and went to Jagannath Puri, Raghunath Das was present at that time. And after returning back to his home, Raghunath Das became practically mad with the ecstatic love of the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. And every night, Raghunath Das used to run away from his home and to go to Jagannath Puri to meet Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But then every night, his father he kept 5 watchmen to guard him so that he doesn't leave, and several personal servants who were employed to look after him about his comforts, and the 2 brahmanas were employed to cook for him. So in this way, 11 men were incessantly keeping Raghunath Das under the control so that he could not go to Jagannath Puri. But Raghunath Das' mind, all his consciousness was just to come to the lotus feet of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And while Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was traveling from Jagannath Puri to Vrindavan, he passed again through Shantipur, Sri Advaita Acharya's house. And Srila Raghunath Das Goswami took this opportunity to meet Chaitanya Mahaprabhu again. And when he met Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he offered his dandavats, the obeisances to Lord, and he pleaded to Lord that please take me with you to Jagannath Puri. And at this, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said that don't do markate sannyas, meaning don't become a monkey renunciate. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave him the instruction that don't become a show bottle renunciate. Rather, he said that within your heart you should keep yourself very faithful, but externally you may behave like an ordinary man. Thus, Lord Krishna will soon be very pleased and deliver you from the clutches of Maya. You may see me in Nilachal Jagannath Puri when I return after visiting Vrindavan. By that time, you can think of some trick to escape. What kind of means you will have to use at that time will be revealed by Lord Krishna. If one has Lord Krishna's mercy, no one can check him. So this was the instruction of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, not to be a show bottle renunciate, rather always meditating on Supreme Lord, but externally behave like any do perform the duties. Following the instruction of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Raghunath Das for 1 year gave up all his external pseudo-renunciation and engaged in his household duties without attachment. He was inwardly completely renounced, even in the family, but he did not express his renunciation externally. So seeing this, the change in behavior of Raghunath Das, the parents were very satisfied. So they slackened the number of the security guards who used to guard him so that he doesn't leave. In the meantime, a very difficult situation came in because his father Govardhan Majumdar and his uncle they Hiranya Das, they were actually employed under the Muslim government, and they used to collect the taxes. But there was a Muslim Chaudhry at that time. He became very envious, and they both had some deal to share certain number of coins. But Hiranya Das, his Raghunath Das uncle, he did not pay adequate amount of coins to the Muslim Chaudhry. So Muslim Chaudhry became extremely upset and angry, and he complained to the Qazi, to the Muslim administrator over there, Nawab Hussain Shah. And when the Muslim Chaudhry complained, Nawab Hussain Shah ordered to arrest Govardhan Majumdar and Raghunath Das uncle Hiranya Das. So somehow they came to his father and his uncle came to know about this news that they are going to get arrested. So they hid away. And by the time when the soldiers came to their house, they saw little Raghunath Das. So they arrested Raghunath Das, and the aim of that was they will beat Raghunath Das so much that Raghunath Das will tell and reveal where his father and his uncle were. So with this aim, they took Raghunath Das to the Muslim administrator, and every night they used to chastise him. The jailer used to wanted to beat him, but as soon as he saw the beautiful effulgent face of Raghunath Das, his mind changed. And then they took Raghunath Das to the Muslim administrator, and Raghunath Das said, in a very humble and in a very pure voice, he said, "My dear sir, my father and his elder brother, you are all brothers. All brothers always fight with about something. Sometimes brothers fight among themselves, and sometimes they have very friendly dealings. There is no certainty when such changes will take place. Thus, I am sure that today, although you are fighting, tomorrow you three brothers will be sitting together in peace. Just as I am my father's son, so am I also yours. I'm your dependent, and you are my maintainer. For a maintainer to punish the person who he maintains is not good. You are an expert in all the scriptures. Indeed, you are like a living saint. So hearing the soft-hearted voice, appealing voice of Raghunath Das, the Muslim Chaudhry and the administrator became very softened, and the tears glided from their eyes. They said that yes, you are my son from today onwards. Today, by some means, shall have to release you from the jail, but you kindly arrange a meeting between me and your uncle, and so that we can resolve this dispute. So Raghunath Das, with his great intelligence, he arranged the meeting between the Muslim Chaudhry and his uncle, and the dispute was mitigated. So Srila Prabhupada writes in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita in the purpose that even though a devotee of Lord Krishna is always engaged in Krishna conscious activities, he's very humble, but he is not a fool. So this is a very important example that we learn in our lives, that Raghunath Das Goswami, although he was always Krishna conscious, always planning to meet Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but he wasn't fool, and he resolved this very difficult conflict which happened with the Chaudhary and his uncle. Then, like this, 1 year passed, and Raghunath Das, he was just behaving like a first-class business manager, and but after 1 year, his mind changed again. He was again and again contemplating on meeting Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He had so strong desire, and seeing this, he used to run away from his house. But every night he used to run, his father used to catch him from behind. So this was the transcendental pastime happening every night for a few weeks. And then his mother spoke, Raghunath Das' mother spoke to his father, to his husband, to her husband, and said, "Our son has become mad. Just let us now bind him with the ropes." Then to this, Govardhan Majumdar said, uh, Raghunath Das, our son, has opulence like Indra, the king of heaven, and his wife is as beautiful as an angel. Yet all this could not but tie his mind. How then could we keep this boy home by binding him with ropes? It is not possible even for one's father to nullify the reactions of one's past activities. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has fully bestowed his mercy on him. How can we keep him home? Such a madman who has dedicated his life to Chaitanya Chandra. So this was the reply of his father, that how can we bind Raghunath Das with a rope when he has got the mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and such highly opulence like that of King of Indra and a beautiful wife as an angel could not bind him. So it's a very amazing lesson that we learn. Then after a little while, Raghunath Das came to know that Lord Nityananda Prabhu has arrived at a place called Panihati. And Raghunath Das had a great desire to meet Lord Nityananda Prabhu and present his plea to meet Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So, with this in mind, Raghunath Das went to Panihati, to the village of Panihati, and as soon as Raghunath Das offered his obeisances, Lord Nityananda Prabhu was sitting on a platform under the banyan tree, which is still there, on the banks of the Ganges River. And Lord Nityananda Prabhu was looking so effulgent, like thousands and thousands of suns rising. And from a far distance, Raghunath Das offered his obeisances to Lord Nityananda Prabhu. And one of the servants of Nityananda Prabhu said that to Nityananda Prabhu, "See, here is Raghunath. He is offering obeisances to you." Hearing this, Nityananda Prabhu said, addressed to Raghunath, "You are a thief. Now you have come to me. Come here, come here. Today I shall punish you." So then Lord called Raghunath Das to come near him, but Raghunath Das did not come. So Lord Nityananda Prabhu himself stood up and walked to Raghunath Das and forcefully caught him and placed his lotus feet upon Raghunath Das' head. And so we see that Lord Nityananda Prabhu is also very funny by nature and very merciful by nature. How amazing to see that Lord Nityananda Prabhu placed his lotus foot on the head of Raghunath Das in the very first meeting. Then Lord Nityananda Prabhu said again, he said, "You are a thief. Instead of coming near me, you stay away at a distance. Now I have captured you. I shall punish you. Now make a festival and feed to all my associates yogurt and the cheap rice." So hearing this, Raghunath Das was greatly pleased. He immediately sent his own men to the village, to various villages, to purchase all kinds of eatables and bring it back to Panihati. He brought chipped rice, yogurt, milk, sugar, bananas, and other eatables and placed all around them. So within few minutes, practically within very short time, all this was arranged by Raghunath Das. And as soon as the people around heard that there's going to be a big festival going to happen in Panihati, the people from all around the villages and the places, they came running around to attend this very important festival. A huge crowd started coming in, and it was pouring and pouring to increase more and more. And then when Raghunath Das saw that there's such a huge crowd coming, he ordered even more food stuff. So how they did was they placed several large size containers, the earthen containers, and they had medium containers and the small containers. So in a very small, they offered two small containers to each one of the devotees present for the festival. One was mixed with half was mixed with the yogurt, sugar and banana, and half was mixed with the condensed milk and a special type of banana known as kamphakala. Then sugar, clarified butter, and camphor was added. Uh, when this was done, they prepared all the pots and they offered to Lord Nityananda Prabhu, who was sitting on the platform with all the important associates. Everyone was offered two earthen pots. In one, there was put the chip rice with condensed milk, and the other, the chip rice with yogurt. All people sat in a group around the platform, and nobody could count how many people were there at that time. And the others who did not get the place to partake the prasadam, they actually went to the Ganges River. They even stood in the middle of the Ganges River to attend this very important festival. And at this time, Raghav Pandit, he arrived. Raghav Pandit, we'll discuss this a little later. He is also eternal associate of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Lord Raghav Pandit said to Lord Nityananda Prabhu, "Oh, for you, sir, I have already offered food to the deity, but you are engaged in the festival here. so the food is lying there untouched. Then Nityananda Prabhu replied, let me eat all this food here during the day, and I shall eat at your home at night. I belong to the community of the cowherd boys, and therefore I really have many cowherd associates with me. I'm happy when we eat together in picnic like this by the sandy bank of the river. Nityananda Prabhu then made Raghava Pandit sit down and had two pots delivered to him also. There were two kinds of chipped rice soaked in them, and this is the actual site of Panihati Chida Festival. So we can see here this particular platform and the banyan tree, which is over 500 years old, and the banks of the Ganges River just behind it. So very, very transcendental, serene, and important place of this pastime. This is another picture. This is a more closer picture, and we can see Raghunath Das Goswami offering his dandavats obeisances to Lord Nityananda Prabhu. It's another closer picture, and we can clearly see the banyan tree as well. And this is written in Bengali that this is the actual site of Panihati Chida Dahi Festival. Another picture of this Panihati festival. And this is the actual banyan tree. You can see a very old banyan tree under which Lord Nityananda Prabhu sat on the platform. And this is the dust of the tree. And a more closer darshans to the dust of the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda Prabhu and the Panihati Chida Dahi website, this Chida Dahi site. And there's another banyan tree around where this pastime took place. And this is the Panihati boat ghat, which is there, still there. Huge Ganges river flows, very, very mighty and wide Ganges river flow, and it's very serene atmosphere in Panihati. And this is a very unique temple just next to the Panihati Chida site. This temple is in the shape of a box, and we can see very important deities of Lord Nityananda Prabhu, Lord Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, Raghunath Das Goswami here. So this is the photo of the main altar of Lord Nityananda Prabhu and Lord Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu. Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu here is depicting the Sadbhuj form as well. And the deities of Jagannath, Baladev, Subhadra, and Shri Radha Krishna. And in the front is the Murti of Raghunath Das Goswami. This is the lotus footprints of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Lotus footprints of the big deities of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu at the temple, and the lotus footprints of big deities of Lord Nityananda Prabhu at the temple. This is a photo of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and very rare photo of Lord Nityananda Prabhu, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu dancing at the Panihati Chida site. And here again a very rare photo of Raghunath Das Goswami offering his obeisances to Nityananda Prabhu. And we can see also a photo of Srila Prabhupada, ISKCON founder Acharya, at the temple. So once the chip rice was ready and offered to the Lord Nityananda Prabhu, he was so pleased that he wanted Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu also to come at this site. So although Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu was physically at Jagannath Puri at that time, Lord Nityananda Prabhu in meditation brought Caitanya Mahaprabhu to Panihati. And when Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu arrived, Nityananda Prabhu stood. They then saw how others were enjoying the chip rice with yogurt and the condensed milk, and at the same time the Harinam Sankirtan was happening. So that was a great amazing sight that Harinam Sankirtan is happening, and at the same time, all the devotees were enjoying the chipped rice and the yogurt. From each and every pot, Lord Nityananda Prabhu took one morsel of the chipped rice and pushed it into the mouth of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Then Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also smilingly took a morsel of the food, pushed into the mouth of Nityananda Prabhu, and laughed as he made Nityananda Prabhu eat. In this way, Nityananda Prabhu was walking throughout all the groups of eaters, and all the Vaishnavas standing there were seeing the fun. No one could understand the Nityananda Prabhu was what Nityananda Prabhu was doing, and he was just walking. So, however, who were very fortunate could see Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So, only a very few fortunate people, only 5 or 6 devotees, exalted devotees, could see their Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has arrived. So, one was obviously Lord Nityananda Prabhu, Raghunath Das Goswami, Raghava Pandit, and some others were the only people who could see that this Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has also arrived, and that Nityananda Prabhu is pushing the morsel of the prasadam in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mouth, and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is pushing the morsel of prasadam in Nityananda Prabhu's mouth. So amazing pastime happened like this. And every year at this site, devotees from ISKCON and other Gaudiya Vaishnavas celebrate this amazing festival in remembrance of this. In 2016, when I went to Panihati, that marked the 500th year of this festival. So this year, 2021, marks the 505th year of this festival, and 2016 was also the 50th anniversary of the ISKCON as well. So devotees, they bring the deities of Lord Nityananda Prabhu, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and they have a magnificent festival every year. As we can see here, thousands and thousands of devotees present to mark this important festival. And then again, they have got these earthen pots where they mix the chida and the chipped rice and the yogurt and the banana, the sugar, and offer to the lordships. You can see even now there are so many devotees who are standing just on the banks of the Ganges river, and there are many devotees who can performing the Harinam Sankirtan, Hare Krishna Sankirtan, while the festival is on. And this is another view of the Ganges river and the backside of the Panihati Chida site. And here there is ISKCON devotees doing the Hare Krishna Kirtan during the Panihati Chida Dahi Festival. And just next to the actual site of Panihati is the ISKCON temple, just 200 meters walking distance. One can actually see the ISKCON temple from the site. So we have a very nice ISKCON Panihati temple, which is located on the banks of the Ganges river. So this is the main entrance to the Shishi Gaur Nitai Mandir, ISKCON Panihati. And this is the main altar of the temple. And the deities are Shishi Gaur Nitai, very beautiful deities of Shishi Gaur Nitai. And His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, founder Acharya of International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Then, as I was mentioning, 2016 marked the 500th year of the Panihati Chida Dahi Festival. And this very beautiful Ganges Ghat at the ISKCON Panihati temple itself. So very serene, one can just chant Hare Krishna, meditate on this pastime of Panihati. Very beautiful place. And these are the details of ISKCON Panihati temple, the phone number, and they also have the website and the Facebook page one can visit. And a nice poster. One Krishna book soul means we go forward one step in our Krishna consciousness. We should always remember this. So the devotees at the Panihati temple, they are very friendly and they are very helpful, because they're very helpful to see devotees come and visit Panihati, and there are few places around Panihati which they can take you when you visit there. So some of these important holy places in Panihati are like the Raghava Bhavan, which is the birthplace and also the Samadhi of Srila Raghava Pandit. Uh, there it is the Radharani's kitchen, um, and also Raghavera Jali, which was handled by Damyanti Devi, Raghav Pandit's sister. And this is the eternal residence of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu once placed his lotus feet at Sri Gadadhar Das here as well. And very close by, there's also Makranda Jwej Kara's birthplace at the old Hari Sabhatala, and Shri Radha Shyam Sundar Mandir at Kharda, which is also the birthplace of Srila Birachandra Prabhu, son of Lord Nityananda Prabhu and Janava Devi, and Bhagwat Acharya's house at Varha Nagar, where Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructed Srila Raghunath Pandit to relish Srimad Bhagavatam. So this is the house of Raghav Pandit, which is also called Raghava Bhavan or Patbari. So Patbari is the birthplace, and also they have this Samadhi and Srimati Radha Rani's kitchen. This is also the eternal residence of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Raghav Pandit is an eternal associate of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He and his sister Damyanti used to cook extremely nectarian preparations for the pleasure of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And they used to send all these preparations from Bengal at this place in Panihati to Jagannath Puri while Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was residing there. So Raghav Pandit's Bhavan is just 10 minutes walk from the Panihati boat cart and ISKCON temple. When Raghav Pandit would cook along with Sister Damyanti, every preparation was aesthetically sweet like nectar. Whenever anything was cooked in the house of Raghav Pandit, Srimati Radharani would personally appear to perform the cooking through the hands of her devotees. Srimati Radharani had received a benediction from Durvasha Muni that anything she prepared would be sweeter than nectar. When Raghav Pandit and Damyanti would cook, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would personally appear in Raghav Pandit's house to eat that food. When Raghav Pandit offered the food to the deity after cooking, he would take a separate offering to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Every day, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would eat at the house of Raghav Pandit. Sometimes he would give Raghav Pandit the opportunity to see him. So this is all these amazing pastimes are described in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Ante Leela, chapter 6, verses 106 to 154. And this is the Raghav Pandit's kitchen. We can see this is Damyanti, sister of Raghav Pandit, cutting the vegetables, doing the cooking preparations. And underneath, we can see a number of preparations. So many vivid preparations for the pleasure of Lord Chaitanya. And here we can see the Murti of Raghav Pandit, and behind is a photo of the servants of Raghav Pandit carrying all the eatables, preparations to Jagannath Puri. It's a very unique place, this one. Here we can have another close-up picture of the servants of Raghav Pandit and the devotees carrying the eatables for the pleasure of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to Jagannath Puri. And this is a nice photo of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his lotus footprint, and also Lord Nityananda Prabhu and his lotus footprint at Raghav Pandit's kitchen. And this is the Murti of Raghav Pandit. Another close-up picture of Damyanti making the preparations. And these are the offerings, so vivid offerings, wide variety of offerings, which were cooked by Raghava Pandit and Damayanti. And this is the entrance to the kitchen. So this is the place, as mentioned. This is the where Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu resides eternally. And every time Raghav Pandit made any preparation, he used to come personally and partook all the offerings. And these are the deities at the altar, temple altar there. Shri Radha Madan Mohan, which was worshipped by Raghav Pandit. Shri Radha Raman, worshipped by Srila Raghunath Das Goswami. Shri Gopal Jiu, worshipped by Raghav Pandit's sister, Damayanti Devi. And so this all this on the temple altar in the Raghav Pandit Raghav Bhavan in Panihati. And this place is the Samadhi of Raghav Pandit. So as soon as we enter the house of Raghav Pandit, toward the left-hand side is a big area which is called Madhavi Tala, and is at the courtyard itself. So there at the middle of the courtyard on the left-hand side, there's Samadhi of Raghav Pandit. And from this Samadhi of Raghav Pandit, actually a tree has sprouted. And this tree has spread all over the area and is providing the shelter. So it's a very unique and transcendental tree which has sprouted from the Samadhi naturally of Raghav Pandit. We can see this is a closer picture of Madhavi Tala, very important and auspicious place. And there are some steps, and one can go and see the actual Samadhi and how the tree is sprouting from the Samadhi. This is the actual tree and the sprout coming from the Samadhi called Madhavi Tala. So after Lord Nityananda Prabhu took rest, Raghav Pandit submitted his request to have supper at his house to Lord Nityananda Prabhu. And Lord Nityananda Prabhu and his associates came to Raghav Pandit's house. And through Raghav Pandit, Raghunath Das Goswami submitted his desire. He said that I am the lowest among the men, the sinful, fallen, and the condemned. Nevertheless, I desire to attain the shelter of lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya. Like a dwarf who wants to catch the moon, I have tried my best many times, but I have never been successful. Every time I tried to go and give up my home relationship, my father, mother, unfortunately kept me bound. No one can attain the shelter of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu without your mercy. But if you are merciful, even the lowest of the men can attain the shelter of his lotus feet. Although I am unfit and greatly afraid to submit this plea, I nevertheless request you, sir, to be especially merciful towards me by granting me the shelter of the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Placing your feet on my head, give me the benediction that I may achieve the shelter of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu without difficulty. I pray for this benediction. So, what an heartfelt prayers by Raghunath Das Goswami, which he submitted through the mercy of Raghav Pandit to Lord Nityananda Prabhu. So here we can see how Raghunath Das Goswami is simply pleading and longing to have the association of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And hearing this appeal by Raghunath Das, Lord Nityananda Prabhu smiled and told all the devotees, Raghunath Das' standard of material happiness is equal to that of Indra, the king of heaven. Because of the mercy bestowed upon him by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Raghunath Das, although situated in such material happiness, does not like it at all. Therefore, let every one of you be merciful towards him and give him the benediction that he may very soon attain the shelter of lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya. One who experienced the fragrance of the lotus feet of Lord Krishna does not value even the standard of happiness available in Brahmaloka, the topmost material planet. And what to speak of heavenly happiness? One who experiences the fragrance of lotus feet of Lord Krishna does not value even the happiness of Brahmaloka. So this is how Lord Nityananda Prabhu blessed Raghunath Das Goswami, and he said, placing his feet on Raghunath Das, they said, "My dear Raghunath, even you, since you arranged the feast at the banks of Ganges, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came here just to show you his mercy. By his causeless mercy, he ate the chipped rice and milk. Then, after seeing the dancing of the devotees at night, he took his supper. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Gora Hari, came here personally to deliver you. Now rest assured that all the impediments meant for your bondage are gone. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will accept you and place you under the charge of his secretary Swarup Damodar. You will thus become one of his most confidential internal servants and attain the shelter at the lotus feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Being assured all of this, return to your own home very soon without impediments. You will attain the shelter of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu." So, Lord Nityananda Prabhu had Raghunath Das blessed by all the devotees present, and he also placed his lotus feet on Raghunath Das. So, after this, Raghunath Das, he went back to his home, but when he went to his home, he never entered the interior section of his house. Rather, he would sleep at the Durga Mandap, and there his father employed uh, several watchmen to guard him day and night so that Raghunath Das does not leave his house. And at that time, it was the time of Jagannath Rath Yatra at Puri, and at that time, devotees from Bengal used to go in large number. Thousands of devotees used to go from Bengal to Orissa, to Jagannath Puri, and attend the Jagannath Rath Yatra festival, and also have the darshan and the association of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So a large number of devotees, already started to go to Jagannath Puri, and Raghunath Das Goswami, he was feeling the great pangs of separation of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So every night he wanted to leave the place, but obviously because he was guarded by so many guards, he could not. But one night he got an opportunity through his own family priest by name Yadunandan Acharya. And Yadunandan Acharya, he said that one of his disciple has actually left for a leave, and he wanted Raghunath Das to induce him again to come back to his service for the deities. And Yadunandan Acharya came right at the middle of the night. And Raghunath Das said, "Yes, I will help you with this." Then Raghunath Das, um, he saw this a great opportunity to escape. He saw all the guards were sleeping at the V of the night. So guards were sleeping, and even the guards who were near him, they were also taking rest. Immediately, on the pretext to meet to induce that particular devotee, he he left his house and he ran all the way towards Jagannath Puri. And as he was running with the palpitating heart, he was seeing nobody is coming in near him, nobody is watching him, and he ran and ran. So while going to Jagannath Puri, Raghunath Das, he did not took a normal route. He took a route via very interior and remote places so that he could not be seen by anybody or caught by the servants of his father. So he ran and ran and ran, going from village to village, and he hardly used to eat and sleep. He used to take, after walking and walking for miles and miles, he used to take rest in some goshala, drink some milk, just a little bit of milk, and just kept on walking and walking to Jagannath Puri. And in the meantime, when his parents came to know that Raghunath Das has left them, it was like as if a big stone, a boulder, has stuck their head. They could not tolerate it, and his father said that this is Rath Yatra time, so he must have gone to with all the devotees to meet Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to Jagannath Puri. So his father sent 10 of his servants and a letter to Shivananda Sen, who was leading the party to Jagannath Puri. And he said, and he gave a letter, and all the servants went running to the party who was going to Jagannath Puri, and they gave him the letter to Shivananda Sen. And Shivananda Sen, no, Raghunath Das hasn't come here. So all the guards returned back to his father's house, and again they were in great morus that his son has left. And in the meantime, Raghunath Das, after 12 days of walking and hardly eating anything, he reached Jagannath Puri, and he went straight to the place where Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was residing. And as soon as Raghunath Das, he offered his obeisances to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Swarup Damodar was Mukunda Dutt was there, and he said, "Here is Raghunath." And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu immediately welcomed Raghunath Das. He said, "Come here." And Raghunath Das then clasped the lotus feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but Lord Chaitanya stood up and embraced him out of his causeless mercy. And then these very important instructions which Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, "The mercy of Lord Krishna is stronger than anything else. Therefore, the Lord has delivered you from the ditch of materialistic life, which is like a hole into which people pass stool." And Raghunath Das answered within his mind. He said, "I do not know who Krishna is. I simply know that your mercy, O my Lord, have saved me from my family life." Then Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu continued. He said, "Your father and his elder brother are both related as brothers to my grandfather Nilamba Chakravarti. Therefore, I consider them as my grandfathers. Since your father and his elder brother are younger brothers of Nilamba Chakravarti, I may joke about them in this way. My dear Raghunath Das, your father and his elder brother are just like worms in stool in the ditch of material enjoyment. For the great disease of the poison of material enjoyment is like they consider happiness. Although your father and uncle are charitable to the Brahmanas and greatly help them, they are nevertheless not pure Vaishnavas. Therefore, they are almost like Vaishnavas. Those who are attached to the materialistic life and are blind to the spiritual life must act in such a way that they are bound to be repeated birth and death by the actions and the reactions of their activities. By his own will, Lord Krishna has delivered you from such a condemned materialistic life. Therefore, the glories of Lord Krishna's causeless mercy cannot be expressed. So these are amazing instructions of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, which are there in Chaitanya Charitamrita Antya-lila, chapter 6, verses 197 to 200, where Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu describes that this materialistic life is like a hole in which people pass stool, and his uncle, his uncle, they are although very charitable to the Brahmanas, but they are not the pure devotees. So they are just like the worms in the stool in the ditch of material enjoyment, because the great disease of the poison of material enjoyment is what they consider happiness. So this is all. So materialistic enjoyment, as per the instructions of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and as per the instruction of Lord Shri Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, is just very illusionary and flickering. But unfortunately, we take this illusion as our all in all in our daily life. So very important instructions by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to Raghunath Das Goswami. And after this, Raghunath Das Goswami, he handed, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu handed over the spiritual development, spiritual progression of Raghunath Das to Swarup Damodar. And that's why Raghunath Das is called Swarupera Raghunath. So that's another name of Raghunath Das Goswami. And Swarup Damodar used to guide him and instruct him in Krishna consciousness process. And in the meantime, Raghunath Das, he went to the Simhadwar, the main of the Sriman, the main temple of Lord Jagannath, and he used to stand there and he just used to beg for some food whenever he wanted that. And in the meantime, his father and uncle came to know that back back at the Saptagram that Raghunath Das has actually reached Jagannath Puri. So they were very, and when they came to know that he's simply standing and begging for food in front of Simhadwar, they were really, really very, very upset and morose that he's son of such a wealthy personality whose wealth matches that of Indra. And he's just standing and eating food in front of Simhadwar. So they sent him 100 gold coins to the servant. But Raghunath Das, he accepted only few gold coins and he left them away. And like this, all the party from Bengal also came. They also came to know about Raghunath Das. He has taken the shelter of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And like this, quite a few days passed. And then where Raghunath Das used to live, he used to invite every month Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu, and some of the other devotees for prasadam. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu, they all used to have very ecstatic prasadam over there. And Swarup Damodar was also there. Like this, few months passed, and this incident used to continue. But after that, 5 or 6 months later, Raghunath Das stopped inviting. In fact, he was simply eating the food stuff which were really discarded one, the ones which were discarded from even Jagannath temple, which even not even the cows would eat. So he used to always be absorbed in Krishna consciousness, spend time in that. But he, if at all he had to eat anything, he used to eat the discarded food stuff. So one day, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked Swarup Damodar, what happened to Raghunath? Why is he not inviting us anymore for prasadam? Then Swarup Damodar said that he has stopped taking any money from his parents and he just eats the remnants, discarded remnants of the food stuff from Jagannath temple. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very pleased. And at one night, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he went very secretly and he went to the place near the Jagannath temple where Raghunath was secretly collecting some of the discarded food stuff. And he said, and then he forcefully took the food stuff which was there in the hands of Raghunath Das and ate. So this amazing pastime which happened, this is a very beautiful picture which we can see that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is coming and he's saying, just give me the food that you are eating, the prasadam that you are eating. And from this pastime, however, Srila Prabhupada said that it writes in the purport that we have to understand this pastime, that this is the great exalted position of Raghunath Das Goswami. However, we as practicing devotees should not imitate such pastimes of eating the food stuff like this. These are very special pastimes of exalted personalities. And this also shows the great renunciation, materialistic renunciation of such exalted personalities as Raghunath Das Goswami. And pleased with the great renunciation of Raghunath Das, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gifted him with the Govardhan Shila, which he got from Govardhan when he was in Vrindavan. And also this particular Shila, he gifted him to Raghunath Das, and Raghunath Das used to wear this Shila on his neck. And this particular Shila is right now, one can take the darshan at Shishi Radha Gokulananda temple in Vrindavan. So these are very special darshans of this Govardhan Shila, which was gifted personally by Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu, seeing the great renunciation of Raghunath Das. So after that, when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ended his manifest pastimes on this planet, Raghunath Das was greatly aggrieved and in the pangs of separation of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So he decided that he will go from all the way from Jagannath Puri to Vrindavan and especially to Govardhan, and he will climb the topmost peak of the Govardhan hill and jump from it and commit suicide. So with this aim, he walked and walked from Jagannath Puri to Vrindavan. And when he reached Vrindavan, he met Sanatan Goswami and Rupa Goswami, who were there at that time. And Sanatan Goswami and Rupa Goswami, and they all told Raghunath Das not to have such a desire, rather practice Krishna consciousness and spread the Krishna consciousness in Vrajmandal. So, taking the instructions of Sanatan Goswami and Rupa Goswami, he actually, Raghunath Das Goswami, he lived at Shamakund and Radhakund in near the on the foothills of Govardhan. So he spent his time doing his bhajan, doing the Hare Krishna chanting all day, and practicing Krishna consciousness. And like this, many years passed, and one day while he was chanting Hare Krishna mantra, Hare Krishna Mahamantra, a tiger came to Radhakund and he was drinking the water. But at the same time, Lord Krishna was there. He was standing with his stick protecting Raghunath Das. So this past time, Sanatan Goswami saw this. The tiger is drinking water. Raghunath Das Goswami is chanting his Hare Krishna japa, and Lord Krishna is standing with the stick in his hand and protecting Raghunath Das. So he said to Raghunath Das, why you are doing this? Why don't you accept a bhajan kutir? We should not take the services from Lord Krishna. Rather, we should be serving. But Raghunath Das Goswami, he did not pay much heed to the advice. He continued to live. He didn't had this bhajan kutir. Then a few months later, again, Raghunath Das, Sanatan Goswami came, and he's at the same very place. It was a hot summer month, and Raghunath Das was chanting Hare Krishna in this hot, scorching heat. And Sanatan Goswami saw that Srimati Radharani has come, and with her cloth, she's trying to, with her veil, she's trying to protect Raghunath Das from the hot, scorching sun. Again, Sanatan Goswami said, now this is enough. Other day Krishna came, and now Srimati Radharani has come, and that's enough. Now you accept the bhajan kutir. So we need to give, we need to render service to the Supreme Lord rather than taking services from them. So from that day on, the bhajan kutir concept started in Vrindavan, and Raghunath Das stayed and accepted the bhajan kutir on the banks of Radhakund, which is still there. And Raghunath Das Goswami, he lived for many years, and several pastimes took place at Radhakund and Shamkund and in Vrajmandal. Several pastimes took place. And this particular picture is a very unique picture, a very rare and unique picture. We can see two pastimes happening in one picture. Here is one Lord Krishna standing with his stick, and the two tigers who are drinking water, and Lord Krishna is protecting Raghunath Das. And the second one is Srimati Radharani. She is protecting Lord Raghunath Das Goswami with her veil. And at the far left end, we can see Sanatan Goswami. He is watching all these pastimes. So it's an amazing picture. Two pastimes happening in one picture, in one displayed in one picture. And this is the Samadhi of Raghunath Das Goswami at Radhakund. Raghunath Das Goswami left his body on the banks of Radhakund, where his Samadhi tomb stands. This took place on the Shukla Dvadashi Tithi of the month of Ashwani in the year 1586. And this is the Samadhi of Srila Raghunath Das Goswami at Radhakund. Another picture of his Samadhi. And these are 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan: Sanatan Goswami, Rupa Goswami, Raghunath Das Goswami, Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, Gopal Bhatta Goswami. So these are the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan. And the more details of the Panihati Yatra is available on the dandavars.com. And there's a very nice lecture given by His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj few years back at the ISKCON Juhu temple in Mumbai. It's in Hindi. The very beautiful pastimes of Raghunath Das Goswami, which is there on this link, which is on this ISKCON Desire Tree. And again, very important and useful information. Please do visit Panihati Dham, very holy place and very important place where we can visit the Panihati Chida site and also Raghava Pandita Bhavan and ISKCON Panihati temple, which is highly regenerating for our Krishna consciousness. And this Panihati is only 1 hour drive from the Kolkata airport. And ask for the Panihati boat ghat in Sodipur, or Google ISKCON Panihati temple. And ISKCON Panihati temple also have their website. And more information on the Holy Dhams is available on the holydham.com website and also on holy-pilgrimages.com website. So thank you so much, dear devotees, for listening in this very important pastimes of Srila Raghunath Das Goswami, Lord Nityananda Prabhu. And I'm very grateful to entire GBC SPT team, Gopal Bhatta Prabhu, Pancharatna Prabhu, and all the devotees for giving this opportunity that I can be of little bit of service to present this presentation. Thank you so much. Srila Raghunath Das Goswami ki jai, Lord Nityananda Prabhu ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Panihati Dahi Chida Mahotsav ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Chandan Yatra Prabhu. You really took us on a beautiful journey. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. And thank you so much to our viewers for your active participation and for viewing and meditating on these beautiful pastimes. So please continue to join us. And if you haven't yet, go ahead and subscribe to the GBC SPT channel, which is www.gbcspt.com. And we look forward to having you again, Chandan Yatra Prabhu. Thank you so much again for your beautiful narration and the beautiful pastimes. So with that note, we'll sign off today. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki
Shri
jai.
Prabhupada Jai.